Welcome to lesson 60 of course 2. In this lesson we're going to talk about fractional part of a number. We're also going to work on percent of a number. This is word problems. We're going to translate these phrases into equations to help us to solve them. Part of the problem with word problems is that we get confused and we don't know what goes where. This lesson is to help us to do that on a very basic level. So we can solve these fractional part of a number problems by translating the questions into an equation and then solving the equation. The thing we want to remember are these items here, that we replace the word is with equals and we replace the word of with times. So anytime we see is, we're going to replace that with the equal sign. Anytime we see of, we're going to replace that with a multiplication sign. So if you saw a problem that says what number is 0.6 of 31, the way you know how to solve that is that you go in and you replace those items with the equal sign and the multiplication sign. The other thing we do is we take the phrase what number and we turn it into a big W and a little n. Here's our is, we change it to an equals, we bring down the 0.6, we change our of to a multiplication, and we bring down our 31. Now it's just a simple case of timesing 31 times 0.6 and coming up with our answer of 18.6. So what number is 0.6 of 31? That number is 18.6. Okay, let's look at another one. Please see if you can do these as we go through this video. This time the question is phrased by using a fraction. The procedure is the same way though. So 3/5, what does 3/5 equal? Remember, it's a fraction. So 3/5 of, what do we do with the word of? What do we change that to? Change that to multiplication sign. We bring down our 120. Is, what do we do with is? We change that to equals, and then what number? Then we just solve it. So we're going to solve straight across. We're multiplying a fraction, so we're going to go 3 times 120, which is going to be 360. Then we're going to divide that by 5, and that's going to give us our answer of 72. Pretty easy stuff, isn't it? Let's see if you can do one on your own. The jacket sold for $75. 40% of the selling price was profit. How much money is 40% of 75? Okay, so in this one here, do we even need do we even need this right here? Do we need that to solve our problem? We really don't. That's just background information. Everything we need is right here in that phrase right there. It says how much money is 40% of 75? So how would we set that up? Well, how much money? We could call it money. I'm gonna do what number again. I like what number. But what number is equals and 40%. So you can do this a couple of ways. One, we can change it to a fraction, 0.40. Of is times 75. And then we just solve that equation. The other way that we can do this, if you don't like to do it with decimals, if you could go what number equals, and then you could change that to be 40 over 100, couldn't you? You could do that, right? And multiply that times 75. So then you just do 40 times 75 and divide it by 100. You can end up with the same answer in either case, depending on which way you'd like to do it. The most important thing is that you convert the is and the of to equals and times, and then you know that how much money is your what number. Let's see how they did it. Okay, so they did it the same way. So our answer here is 30. $30 is equal to 40% of $75. All right, let's look at another one. A little bit harder. You've got a used car salesman, and he gets paid 8% commission when he sells a car. So if he sells a car, what he sells it for, he gets 8% of that money. So if he sells the car for $10,800, how much money does he get paid? So this one here doesn't set it up for us quite so easy. We've got to pull it out. So let's start with our what number. What number is going to be how much the salesperson's commission is right here. this is going to be what number? Or you could say C for commission. Then it says, what number is 0.8%, 0.08, I'm sorry, 0.08 of 10,800, right? Isn't that how you do it? Or you could do 8 over 100 times and get the same thing. Or 8/10. They do the multiplication. Do this one right here. And it's $864. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other way. Yep, so just 8 times 10,008 divided by 100, that equals 864 also. So either one of these works. All right, so you do this one. What number is 25% of 88? Do me a favor and write it out. Bring these down. Right, write it down before you solve it. And please don't do this in your head. I know this is an easier one, but I want you to practice writing these equations. Pause the video, and then let's see if you can get it right. So what number is 25% of 88? Or what number is 25 100ths of 88? Hopefully that's what you wrote. And if you did, you would have came up with 22. What they've done here is they just simplified this to 1/4 to make it a little bit easier math. Okay, another one to practice on. A bicycle is on sale for $119.95. When you buy something, you have to pay tax. In this case, you have to pay 6% tax. So what's the tax on the bicycle? Do this one. Turn it off. See if you can set it up again. See if you can pull all the things down. So in this case here, I'm just going to write tax instead of what number equals. I'm going to pull out my 6%. 6 over 100 times 119.95. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it would be tax equals 0.06, not 0.6. 0.6 would be 60%. 0.06 times 119.95. Is that the way you did it? I hope you did. And if you do, you figure out what your tax is. Then once you have your tax, you can take your 119 for part B here. You can take your 119.95, add your tax to it, and that's going to be your answer for B. So it turns out our tax is $7.20 because we're going to round it up. Do you pay 7.1970 for tax? You don't. So you have to round it up to the nearest cent, and then you add them together and come up with the total price you paid for the bike and the tax. All right, that's it. There's your tickets in the door. Practice these. Bring your questions tomorrow. We'll work on them in class. Thank you for watching the video.